Happy Wednesday. I've been talking with and listening to my children and the conversations that they have with their friends that I'm allowed to hear about how their online classes are going this fall. So, my son is a high school junior, my daughter is a college junior, and they have a wide variety of classes, both of them that are, more some that are STEM, some that aren't, and they also have things that are synchronous, asynchronous, hybrid. They've got the whole gamut of it, and it's been interesting listening to them and listening to their friends about what is working and what is not. And the reality is there's not going to be a one size fits all solution to how we teach online classes. Whatever method we pick, it will probably work for someone and it will probably not work for someone. And that is totally true of the in-person class as well. There's always been students that approach has not worked for, and there's always been students who it has. But it's just so common that we don't think anything of it. It's like, of course, we have face-to-face classes and we do, this is the way that we run them, but that doesn't mean it actually works for everyone. And I think we need to take that kind of reflection and look at how our online classes are going. So, like, I've been really pleased with how my online class has gone this fall in certain ways. I did a whole video on all the ways it wasn't working. But one of the things that's working is they attend and they participate. They don't turn their cameras on, but they do participate. And they will get in the chat with me and talk. And I feel like I have that interaction with them. And their work, the level of work that they're doing is comparable. The grades, I talked about that in another video. The grades are leveling out, which I think is kind of interesting. So I'm seeing, are they still a little higher than what I'm used to seeing? Yes, but they are doing what they typically do, which is the content's getting more challenging, and I'm seeing the class average drop. It's not my goal to see it drop. I still have tons of students which are passing, which is awesome. The main thing I've learned is when you allow your students to use notes like I am, I'm just not even fighting that has changed. Some of the things are just easier to do. And I know that. And I'm giving them a lot of extra time on tests, and I know that makes a difference. So, but I think that's really made me think. I'm like, so if some students, if they just had more time and they had access to a few more resources, could they be successful? Yeah. Can all of them? Probably not. I don't think that's always the case, but some of them can. And that's a whole other topic, but it's given me pause and really made me think about how can I take that lesson into, whatever semester I'm going to be teaching classes. But one of the things I've been noticing is that I seem to enjoy, and they seem to, at least in terms of grades and interaction, respond well to the fact that we meet regularly live. So one of the things I asked them the other day was, do you prefer, think about all of your classes. Do you prefer asynchronous or synchronous classes? And it was really split down the middle, if not leaning a little more towards asynchronous, which I found surprising. And I was asking them, not what you would prefer to attend, because wouldn't we all prefer to attend in some ways asynchronous? You don't have to actually get to a live session, on a regular basis. But I said, what works for how you learn and just, and for a successful semester for you? And definitely there were students that synchronous helped, but they don't necessarily need synchronous all the time. There were students that asynchronous helped, but maybe they don't want that all the time either. It's fascinating. Gotta love the little beats. I'm going to continue, asking them some different questions, asking them in different ways as we close this semester. What worked in how we did this class, what worked in other classes, what didn't work, and what could I learn from this as I go to teach my spring class. And that's what I'm here today to talk about, is to encourage you to do the same thing. Ask your students, is the way that we're doing this class working for you? And of course, you're going to get some yeses and you're going to get some nos. And I think that's fine. It's just understanding, is there a clear, majority? Then maybe we need to look at something. But just also understanding that, they're going to have different preferences, and that's okay. But hearing from them and finding out what they like or what they don't like, or what helped them learn, or were there things that they know they don't enjoy doing but they needed to do that were helpful to them, that information is valuable. And I think we all need to do that, because especially if you're a teacher and you're watching this, we have spent this entire fall semester and going into the fall semester, most teachers just trying to keep their head above water. And so you're very focused on the content you have to cover and what you have to implement and have, getting the information out to students. And obviously we're all here so that students learn, obviously. But we do spend a lot of time worried, am I going to have content to teach? Am I going to have this graded? How am I going to be able to deliver this lesson? Will I have a video made for, X topic or whatever? We have to be concerned about a lot from our perspective, a lot of the class looking from the perspective of what we're doing. But we need to now that we've had a little bit of this under our belt and we've done this, and again, take it from someone who has taught asynchronous for 10 years. I taught online asynchronous for a very long time. But this semester I tried to do total synchronous. And so I, just instead of physically meeting with them 2 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursday morning, we meet virtually with a document camera Tuesdays and Thursdays mornings. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest to you why I did that. It worked for me. I didn't have time to record videos, and I felt like I could still make a connection to my students and help them in a way that I could deal with just the constraints of my time and my life and how many different things I have going on. That's just the case. It worked for me. Does it work for them? And considering how well they're doing and how well the attendance is, I do think on some level that meeting live works for them. Keep in mind, my students are young. We just actually did this activity yesterday because we were working on confidence intervals. The average age of this is a college class. The average age of my class is 17. So I have many high school seniors that are taking this class at our college. And one of them is even 15, just very, and possibly is a junior. But I've got some seniors and I've got some juniors. And then the oldest student is 21. So they like that structure. They like having someone telling them what to do and take notes, and they enjoy that. And it's been interesting listening to my son and his friends and my daughter and her friends. And one of the things they have bemoaned is not having structure. They liked the classes where they had to be at a certain place at a certain time. Now, do they like that every week? No. So if you're wondering if this is yay, do it your way, Kathy, it's the best way around. No, I don't think that. I don't think it works for everyone. I don't think it works for every teacher, and I don't think it works for every student. But I do think some element of synchronous helps. I also think we could totally do some things asynchronous, and it would be fine. And so that's one thing I'm going to push myself to do for the spring. Do I need to do a full 75-minute live lesson with them every Tuesday and Thursday? Maybe I'm still live with them that full length of time, but there was things that they do in advance of class. And again, I didn't have time to get all of that set up. If I could commit some time to doing that, the question is, can I do that? Then I could have them, watch some of these things on video. I like the textbook I use for stats. It's got fabulous resources, so they could watch some videos, and then we could focus more on doing more of the activities I want to do and less of the theory, which is what I've always wanted to do, more of a flipped style. But I know that there's some prep involved in that. So my thing that I'm going to tweak is not make everything synchronous. I'm going to give them something so that they can have some time with me still, but it's solving problems, which they've loved. And anytime I've done that, they're all over it because they want to have a chance to ask questions and we go through things. They love that. Do they always want to just sit and watch a lesson? No, they don't. And so having some asynchronous videos would be nice to have. If you're doing something completely asynchronous, I would encourage you to ask your students, would they like some synchronous element? How much? Is it one day? Is it, 1 hour? What is it one class period a week? Is it required? Is it optional? And no, we can't please everyone, but it'd be really interesting to find out, what do they like? What do they want? What would have helped them? And maybe everything worked out fine. But I do know, and we're hearing this, and again, it's anecdotal, but we are hearing this in a lot of places. There's a lot of students who have withdrawn this fall or not done as well in classes as they normally have. They just don't all feel like they're in school. And so a lot of them are checking out. So it's entirely possible that we're doing some things this fall, even though we mean well, but they don't work for students. And I'm sure all of us are guilty in this in some aspect. I'm sure all of us are doing some things that do work for students. So my challenge to you as you're closing up this semester is talk to your students and find out, in terms of their learning, what did they like and what didn't they like about your class. And this is different than the teacher evaluation. And you could do it as like an anonymous Google form to do a survey with them. You could even make it on a Likert scale that they just rate 1 through 5. So it's really easy for them to do this. But I think it's worth doing, and I think it's worth hearing from them, and let them, have a comment section. Let them, what was something they particularly liked or didn't like, or what advice do they have to next semester students for those students, and also what advice do they have for you for next semester. I'm going to do this too. And I just think it will help me make my class just function better for my students, because I do think that's what we're here for. And I know that's not surprising. I mean, we know that, but it's just been tough. And we've been, again, trying to keep our heads above water, which means a lot of times we have to focus on what we're doing. And now I'm saying, let's shift that a little bit. What are they getting? Maybe we've always been that way, but maybe we need to increase that thought a little bit more about what is the takeaway, not just what I am giving to them. So just something to think about. Hope the rest of your week is fabulous.